It is November the 9th, 1938. Kristallnacht, named for the broken glass that glittered on the streets throughout Germany and Austria following the Nazi Party's so-called spontaneous reprisals for the shooting of a German diplomat by a young Jew in Paris. During the day that followed, over 30,000 Jews were rounded up and sent to concentration camps. Germany closed its borders. Entry and exit visas were now mandatory, whoever you were.
Ich habe noch nie ein Visum gebraucht. Warum jetzt?
Füllen Sie dieses Formular aus und warten Sie dort.
Warum brauche ich eins?
Jeder braucht eins. Warten Sie dort.
This place smells like a dirty laundry.
Are you English?
Yes, I am. What's going on? Why do I need a visa? Why are you so wet?
We had to swim the river.
The river? You swam the Rhine?
Yes.
Why?
Darf ich die Zeitung kurz haben?
You dropped you.
Kristallnacht. Look.
Das ist schrecklich. Come in with me. Gehört zu mir.
Bitte?
Nein?
Fräulein Montagu.
Ja, aber er war wohl immer.
Ah, Sie haben die Sektion zur Rassenabstammung nicht ausgefüllt.
Ich bin eine Britten. Das ist alles, was Sie wissen müssen.
Nein, Sie müssen die Fragen beantworten.
Wie können Sie es wagen? You should be ashamed to even ask such a question.
Sei mal nicht so frech.
Wie können Sie es wagen, mich zu beleidigen?
Why did you do that?
Because they should not have done that. And you saw how he spoke to me.
This is still my country.
Look what your country has done to you.
No one is safe. No one. Even if you are important or an aristocrat like you.
I'm not important. And what makes you think I'm an aristocrat?
Only a fool or an aristocrat would have done what you just did.
Entfernen Sie die Frau aus dem Gebäude.
That day in 1938 was one of the most defining of my life. Only an aristocrat, he said. Was that true? I've always been impulsive. I've always wanted to do the right thing, but that isn't because I was born an aristocrat. This is where it all started. The Bewley Manor Estate, my family's ancestral home on the south coast of England. Bewley was a wonderful place in which to grow up. But in 1916, over 8 million British men went to fight in the Great War. Nearly 1 million didn't return, and those who did were changed forever. Palace House, my home, the gem of Bewley's magnificent estate, and its keeper, my father, John, 2nd Baron Montagu of Bewley.
Come on, little fella.
Hello, Pasha.
Good afternoon, my lord.
And that is Pasha, the butler. Like me, father had many passions in life. Bewley, fast cars, and beautiful women amongst them. These last two were symbolized by the silver figurine that graced all his beloved roles. It was modeled on his personal assistant, Miss Eleanor Thornton, tragically drowned earlier that year when the SS Persia, on which they were both traveling, was torpedoed. That particular Sunday, my father was touring the estate with his young heir.
That's me.
Tell Mama we're home and ready for tea, little fella.
Yes, Papa.
Oh, Pasha, you of all people, desist.
Yes, my lord.
So much damned rain. The birds will never fly in this. Half the estate's underwater, and those fences down by Gin's need mending again, and all you can do is fuss with my coat.
Yes, my lord.
Chop in, Mama. Papa says we are home for tea.
Elizabeth, you are soaking. Run upstairs and ask Nanny for a clean dress.
Nanny?
Yes, Nanny. Now quickly, or there will be no tea left.
Yes, Mama.
Liza's love of the estate came, I know, from my grandfather, her father, who worked in London every week, but would rush back to Bewley at weekends and spend as much time as he could out on the estate, often with Liza. Her father liked to call her little fella, and I think this was an acknowledgement that he really wanted her to be born a boy. In those days, the aristocracy didn't have much to do with the bringing up of their children. They relied on nannies. And in Elizabeth's case, she had a terrible nanny. At night time, she would know when Elizabeth wasn't actually asleep, and to punish her, she'd get her out of bed and beat her. Horrible, cruel behaviour.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what...
Don't pretend to me, Miss Elizabeth. I know you're awake. The whole house can hear your dreadful singing. You should be asleep. That Teddy is disgusting.
No! No, please! Stop! No! No! Let go! Teddy! Stop!
Bad girl!
Why? Stop! Why are they burning the scarecrow?
Miss Elizabeth. That's an effigy of the Kaiser.
What's an effigy?
Oh, well, it's something you use when you can't get your hands on the real person. The Kaiser's the real person we'd like to get our hands on.
Is that why Nanny threw Teddy on the fire?
Oh, the Kaiser was very, very wicked. As for Teddy,
She threw Teddy on the fire.
That bear of hers was filthy, full of germs. It was time for him to go.
I wish it was time for her to go.
Beauty 5-1.
This is Matron at the Bournemouth Hospital. Is Lord Montagu there?
No, he's out sailing. May I take a message?
Well, would you please tell his lordship when he returns that his wife passed away this afternoon?
I was only 10 when that happened. How does one deal with such a thoughtless, callow phone call and its consequences at that or any age? The memory of my mother, so sensitive and gentle, with her wry sense of humor, elegance, musicality, and the unstinting warmth and affection she gave me has never faded. She was only 53. I have always missed her terribly. My father remarried just a year later, and over a period of the next 6 years, his new wife, Pearl, presented me with 3 half-sisters and, of course, my half-brother, Edward.
When she learnt of the birth of my father, she didn't resent it at all. In fact, she was delighted.
But my new stepmother, Pearl, couldn't take my mother's place. We didn't have a bad relationship so much as no relationship.
In addition, Pearl was insistent that Elizabeth should come out and do the debutante season, which Elizabeth really did not want to do. This was about the same time that she was doing a motor mechanics course arranged by her father.
My beautiful new motor car. She cost £100, an early advance on a 21st trust fund.
Fan belt again.
No wonder she was overheating.
Damn it. We're going to be very late. We'll have to get Woody to rescue us.
No, wait.
What are you doing?
Wait, Father, wait. That should get us home.
Have you fixed it? Well done, little fella. You've saved the day. Come on, let's get home before Pearl sends out the troops. Slow down.
But when it came to driving the car, it was Father himself who acted as my instructor, which did not help one little bit.
That's it. Go slowly now. Look out!
Oh no, hope we haven't done any damage.
Oh, no, not a scratch.
Daniel, are you hurt? Oh.
I'm all right, Miss Elizabeth. But Lady Montagu asked that you return home as quickly as possible.
Come on.
What a fright you gave us all this afternoon.
No more than poor Daniel.
And now look at you. You look lovely. Quite the charming young debutante.
Well, young anyway.
Don't be silly, you look perfectly lovely. But let's do something about those oily hands.
Thank you, Pearl.
You're welcome, darling.
Her father died when she was only 20, and the obituaries were full of his great achievements, but what Liza liked to remember was the quiet man in the countryside who had the love and patience to go fishing and stalking.
When my father died in 1929, I was just 20. Courageously, Pearl decided to take me in hand. I escaped to more easygoing neighbors.
Guess what I said to him?
Pearl thought of them as long-haired intellectuals. Two of them would become my dearest friends and have a tremendous effect on my life. Robin Raitt and Etienne Amiot. There was always music when they were around.
Everyone, this is Lord Montagu's daughter, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Cocktails.
Hello.
I was so naive, for all was not that it seemed. Etienne's real love was Basil Bartlett.
Chin chin.
Thanks. Robin? Isn't that Gwen Franken Davis?
With Marder? Yes.
I saw her play Juliet to John Gielgud's Romeo when I was at school.
I'd better keep that to yourself, darling. She barely confesses to being over 21.
Well, well, what have we here?
And Gwen Franken Davis's love...
She is very interesting. She's too young for you, dear.
...was Marder.
Chopin always reminds me of my mother. Don't you just love it?
More than life.
Elizabeth, come and sit with us. Gwen, make room for Elizabeth. Oh, of course.
Isn't he divine?
Yes, but he's divinely unavailable.
Miss Franken Davis, I saw your Juliet. You were just so wonderful.
Oh, thank you, dear. Elizabeth, so formal. Why don't we call you Liza? You'd make a wonderful Eliza Doolittle.
Perfect casting. The daughter of a lord as a Cockney flower girl.
It's called acting, Marder. Do you act, Liza?
No. But I should love to.
Well, it's very easy. If you let me teach you, you would walk into the RADA.
Why don't I teach her, darling? Well, you won't have time with the new play.
If you must.
I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how you say it. I will not countenance you going on the stage. Your sister has already brought disgrace on the family that way.
Pearl, that was 20 years ago.
What has got into you lately? First you change your name to Liza, now this. What next?
You can't shape me into something I'm not.
I realized that some time ago, darling, but I am thinking of the family and its reputation.
And you are thinking in the past. This is legitimate theatre.
How are you going to support yourself? Every penny from the estate goes to pay your father's death duties.
I have £50 a year from my trust fund.
Well, from what one hears, you'll need every penny of it.
Now, I want you to just relax, breathe.
All right.
And when you're ready, just in your own time, off you go.
I'm nervous. I've not done it in front of anybody before.
Oh, that's natural, but you mustn't be nervous. Because you're going to be marvellous, I know it.
All right.
So I applied to study acting at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, as my sister Helen had done. Marder Van was keen to help me. A little too keen, as it turned out. That help soon turned into my first love affair.
Lovely. Now,
In hindsight, it is clear that Marder set out to seduce me and, having won the prize, abandoned me to return to Gwen, who was her true love.
It's all right.
It broke my young heart, of course.
Now, come on.
No sensible person would have entered into such a relationship. But as I could tell no one, I had no one to advise me. Who could I tell that the object of my affection was a member of my own sex, a leading West End actress? I've had my ups and downs in life, but in retrospect, I don't think I've ever felt quite so lonely and desperate as during those few months.
Untalked of and unseen.
That was lovely. It was really lovely. It was. Now, one more thing I want you to try. I want you to close your eyes and try and picture in your mind's eye you are a very young girl and you're waiting at home for your lover.
Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen.
My determination to keep my mind off Marder helped me get into RADA. But I did not last the course. I was offered a job acting in repertory in the northeast of England. It was real acting experience and real living experience in a bedsit in Newcastle. My eyes were opened by the suffering, poor health, and no money for the most basic of life's needs. The lack of employment in and around the area, and the suffering endured by the wonderful warm Geordies with their ever-present sense of humour, began my socialist leanings, which have never left me.
All our food and drink, we thank thee, Lord our God. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Eat up, Liza, and the poor shall eat and be satisfied.
We are not poor, Daddy Poles. This plate alone would feed a family of 4 in Tyneside. People are starving. 4, 5, 6 to a room, damp and lousy.
Liza, darling.
Riddled with lice. No work, no hope.
The pheasant is magnificent, Lady Montagu.
I'll ask Captain Widnell to send you a brace.
While here at Bewley, we live off the fat of the land.
Only in the shooting season?
We must do something.
Yes, we must. If we can't get the heating repaired, we could all soon be sleeping 6 to a room.
This government cares nothing for the poor. They must act.
It would help if they lowered our taxes, starting with death duties.
Too true.
We need jobs. Real jobs.
Now, speaking of which, do you have any news, darling?
Actually, Pearl, I got the part. Starting at Easter in London.
Oh, that's good news. So much warmer than the north and so much easier to get to.
That part, a considerable one, in Beggars in Hell, was the beginning of a reasonably successful West End stage career. Pearl and the family came to see me on the opening night, and I think it was then that she accepted that acting was respectable enough. In 1933, I met someone who was to profoundly and deeply influence me for the rest of my life. Her name was Renata Borgatti.
It's kind of you to give me a lift, Miss Montagu.
Signorina Borgatti, it is such a pleasure. And please, call me Liza.
Then I am Renata. Do you play Liza?
Yes, but... Oh, I wish I had your talent. The way you played the G minor ballade today.
So you know that piece. Can you play it?
Yes, but you would hardly recognize it as Chopin.
Oh, that sounds like self-pity. The most destructive of the emotions, my father used to say.
It is not self-pity.
Then what is it?
It is uncertainty. I can manage the first few pages, but when I get to the coda, I become a mess.
Don't we all? The chromatic octaves and scales make it one of the most difficult works to play.
Yes, that's it. But I don't know how or whether I can get through it.
Well, perhaps I can help. Let me hear you play. If you have the ability, I can get you into Schlossberg.
The piano school?
Yes. When I'm not on tour, it's my home. I am the deputy head of the school.
And I could study there, under you?
Yes. And these strong, workman-like hands will have to practice for 7 hours every day.
They seem to be more suitable for stripping down motors.
Now that is self-pity. Maybe you are right. Maybe you do not have the ability. Let us find out now. If you have, I can help you.
If I have, how can I help you?
The English words are one thing at a time.
Schloss Berg. They took me on as a pupil, and although one practiced for up to 10 hours a day, stopping only for meals, I was not good enough to last. But I continued to stay there frequently with Renata and met many of the most famous musicians in the world.
Elizabeth looked up to Renata and regarded her as someone with much greater knowledge and wisdom. Indeed, she regarded her as a professorial figure.
I met Renata only once, and Liza brought her to my parents' house. I was enormously struck by her. She was absolutely mesmerizing. She had a very mannish haircut, dark hair, and she was wearing a very severe black jacket and skirt with a white shirt. But actually, she was charming.
Renata had a well-earned reputation as a lesbian. Whether she was in a sexual relationship with Elizabeth, we really don't know. But certainly Liza was running a parallel relationship with Roland de Margerie, which didn't seem to be causing anyone any problems.
Another lunch, only this time much grander, led me to my next affair, or rather, one that overlapped my involvement with Renata. I only developed complete, unwavering fidelity to a person some 20 years later. My new lover was Roland de Margerie, rising star of the French Corps Diplomatique, and at that time, first secretary of its London embassy.
I never thought you and I would be possible.
My passion for Renata was now so intense that if I wasn't with her, I wrote to her almost daily. It is true, one can love more than one person at the same time and be true to both. In 1939, the tension between Britain and Germany increased to the point where war became inevitable.
I turned him down.
You turned down the editor of the Times.
Darling, I'm grateful to you for introducing me to him, but his blinkered attitude has convinced me.
Of what?
That instead of writing about Europe, I must do something.
I share your frustration. I too am doing something about it.
What?
I have signed up for Les Diables Rouges.
Roland, no. Surely that is too dangerous. You are needed here at the embassy.
Or to sit out the war while France resists the march of Hitler.
What about your wife? What about the children?
They will return to France.
And what about me?
You know I will always look after you, wherever you are. L'addition, s'il vous plaît.
Non, non, mon chéri, elle n'est pas juste.
La guerre, elle n'est pas juste.
Roland, I beg of you, don't leave me like this.
I have already resigned my post.
No, 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 please, no.
I promise you I will keep in touch. This war will be over soon, and when it is, we will return here to our favorite restaurant. But now I have to go. I love you.
The Mechanized Transport Training Corps had been formed in January 1939. The object was to train women in all subjects necessary for service with the fighting forces. Renata was far away in Switzerland. Roland was back in France. I threw myself into working with the MTC and became second in command to a mobile hospital unit to be deployed with the French army. Yet again, my fluent French and my ability with motor cars came in very useful. By now, Roland had become secretary to the French cabinet and was not much to my relief with the Red Devils.
Liza.
Darling, you look terrible. Is it that bad?
It is worse, but we will fight on.
Where will you go?
To the Pyrenees if necessary.
What about us here at the MTC? Ned sent us here to evacuate. Should we stay or should we go? It's important, Roland.
Stay. Absolument. France will not surrender. Come back tomorrow. I will know more then. Now I must go.
Roland.
The noise and the panic on the streets of Bordeaux were terrifying. Driving the ambulance saved us. I loved France. I loved Roland. And yet they both seemed to be falling apart.
Liza, aren't you coming?
No.
Don't you know what the Germans will do to you? They capture you. You're quite mad, girl.
I can't leave them.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Mademoiselle, please, I need help.
So do I. Now, please, move aside.
I need to join the British Army.
Oh, very commendable, I'm sure. They need a replacement, but I can't help you.
I saw you drive the ambulance. And your uniform, it is British, n'est-ce pas?
Yes, but you are too late.
Please help me.
I can't help you. I must be somewhere. Now, please, please move aside.
Mademoiselle, I am desperate. I've been robbed. They took my money and my peppers. My family is in Paris and Nice, and I'm in Bordeaux with nothing.
For goodness sake, you are persistent. Oh, well, get in, quickly, quickly. Maybe we can help each other.
Thank you.
Nothing. He said to come back this morning. He said, absolutely. What have I done? Roland, I'm so sorry. Did you say you had family in Nice?
Yes. My uncle is a rabbi. Maman insisted on my leaving Paris to go there, but I got on the wrong train.
Well, now you've probably got into the wrong car.
There was no one else.
No. No, it's all right.
It's finished.
No, it isn't finished. Well, we can't stay here. We can't go north. We can't go east. We drive into the sea if we go west. That leaves just one option.
South.
South.
When Elizabeth stood on the quay and watched her fellow members of the MTC depart on that boat, she admits that she hadn't been well and really hadn't been thinking straight. Yet Ned, who at the time was naval attaché in Paris, had every reason to believe that Elizabeth had disobeyed orders by not boarding.
She fell to board.
It is just beyond one's understanding.
The French people have surrendered completely to the Hun, and Liza has lost her reason.
My relationship with Ned had never been easy, and I don't think that he ever forgave me for not evacuating. Although he'd been very terse with me in Paris, he'd nevertheless been quite explicit about evacuating from Bordeaux. So I can understand his anger when he heard the news.
I wish I knew.
That journey from Bordeaux to the south of France was full of uncertainties because they didn't know how quickly the German forces were advancing south. So it was a very risky thing to have done. But she did it.
In Toulouse, we indulged ourselves with croissants and coffee in a cafe which was bursting with people and wild rumours. We heard that Bordeaux had fallen, the city was in flames, and the French cabinet had been taken prisoners. The entire French navy had been sunk in Toulon, and Mussolini's troops had occupied Nice and the Côte d'Azur. We decided to take enough of these rumours seriously to re-plan our route. Maybe we should have continued as before. The new route took us straight into peril.
If even half of the rumours are true, we'll have to head further south.
We don't want to go to Avignon or Nîmes.
Can you get us across the Rhone?
There is a crossing at Tarascon.
How many miles?
I think if we continue along this road, about 80 kilometers, that's the best way.
All right, we can do that. Robert?
Well, turn around.
No, we can't turn back now. Hold on.
Abgebogen! Los hinterher, aber schnell, Mann! Verdammt nochmal hinterher, aber schnell, Mann!
They're coming.
All right, hold on.
We can't escape them.
Just calm down.
They're getting closer. Faster, keep going. They are getting closer.
All right, hold on. Roadblock ahead.
Coupez le moteur et sortez du véhicule. Fouillez cette voiture de fond en comble.
What's the problem, monsieur?
Let me see your carte grise. Is that your car?
No. It belongs to a friend of mine.
Well, the carte grise has to be with the car. Your passport, mademoiselle. And yours?
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Rien.
Retournez à vos postes. Je vous ai demandé vos papiers.
His papers were stolen.
What is he doing with you?
I found him in the road. He had been beaten up and robbed of everything.
You are an English female officer.
Yes.
This is not correct. Your papers do not look correct. He has no identification papers. Why are you going to Nice?
This man is just an unfortunate student who is trying to get to his family. I am traveling because I have been entrusted with an important message from the British ambassador for our consul general in Nice.
Show me that message.
Show you? Surely you are not suggesting that I would carry such a message on my person.
This is a very important crossing over the Rhone. It is my duty to stop and question people like you.
Yes, I understand that. Let me be frank with you. This is a matter of urgent diplomacy. Let us proceed with our journey immediately, or I must speak with your commanding officer.
But you don't have diplomatic papers.
My passport is my diplomatic paper. Let us continue our journey, or bring me your commanding officer.
You can go. If you are not who you say you are, you will not go far. I shall report this matter. Laissez-les passer. Ils iront pas bien loin.
We eventually reached the relative safety of my friend's house in Bramafan. They were delighted to see me, but less pleased when they discovered that my companion was a Jew. He managed to ring his uncle, and the next morning I set out to drive him to Cannes to catch the bus to Nice. It was too dangerous to take him all the way, and we said our goodbyes outside a ruined farmhouse on the outskirts of Cannes.
I will never forget what you did for me, Liza. Never.
You'll need money.
No. You have given me so much already.
Take it. You can pay me back after the war.
How shall I find you?
Here. Goodbye, Robert. And good luck.
I often wonder whether Robert made it to his uncle. The prospects for Jews in Vichy France were decidedly bleak. Many were sent to the concentration camps. Subsequent searches have never revealed any sign of him. But I still prefer to believe he survived, somehow. My best contact in Nice was Bunny Hadfield, a rich and charming American. After meeting two British officers, one of whom I knew, who were in a similar plight to mine, we were lucky enough to be invited to her home.
I can't thank you enough, Lady Hatfield, for your hospitality.
My pleasure, Jim.
When I knew him, he was also called Jim, but I think, under the circumstances, we ought to stick to what's on his passport. Right, Haddy?
Right, Liza.
Agreed. And please, all of you, call me Bunny. Now, Jules, my butler, tells me that we haven't been careful enough. People are suspicious of strangers in this house.
Don't let's fool ourselves, Bunny. We're trouble for you. And the longer we stay here, the more danger you're in.
Why would Bunny be in danger?
We're not liked here. If the wrong people knew Bunny was helping us, she'd get it in the neck. And there are a lot of the wrong people round here.
Vichy France.
Exactly.
We have to get to England.
With your Irish papers, you might make it. But Liza, that British passport, I can't understand why they took your picture when you were in uniform.
Even worse. I need both an exit visa from France and an entry visa to Switzerland.
If you trust me as much as I trust Jules, then let me have it. He has friends in very low places.
Of course I trust you, Bunny. Thanks. I'm hoping I can count on Charles Paraficini for help at the Swiss end. He used to be the Swiss ambassador in London.
You always had more connections than anyone I ever knew.
Who are you two? Are you really sure this is going
Bunny,
to work?
please, we've been over this a dozen times. Our papers will get us across the Pyrenees.
And once there, getting across to Portugal should be a piece of cake.
It's this first part that worries me.
Bunny, just think of us as having a jaunt on the Riviera Express.
Well, Godspeed. And God bless you both.
And God bless the Yanks.
Thank you.
Good luck, Liza. I've had my maid pack some necessary items for you.
Bunny, you are too kind. And this passport with the exit visa at Annemasse, how did you manage that?
Well, if I told you, I'd lose Jules, and I can't afford to lose him.
I'll never forget what you've done for us, Bunny. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The chauffeur delivered us to Nice station, where the boys and I parted company. I later learnt that they did make it, after all sorts of close shaves. I had already decided that I would spend the night in Lyon and then take a train to Geneva in the morning. It would be too dangerous to sleep on a bench in the station, so I went to a nearby hotel, one that I knew. Again, a decision that I made which nearly turned out to be my downfall.
No, I don't.
No.
Do you have any single rooms?
No. Désolé.
Well, I'm really rather desperate. Is there someone I could speak to?
Ah, monsieur?
Bonsoir, monsieur. Vous souvenez-vous de moi?
Madame? Pardon, il a été longtemps.
I used to come here with my father, Lord Montagu.
Yes, of course, mademoiselle. Forgive me, it's been a long time. Your father, he is well?
Il est mort. Il y a 10 ans maintenant.
Je suis tellement désolé.
Monsieur, I need a room.
I have nothing, it's impossible. Les Boches.
Monsieur, I am desperate. I am all alone. You are the only person I know in Lyon. I have money. No.
Mademoiselle, please, come with me. Let me think for a moment. Now, asseyez-vous.
Merci.
Malheureusement, I have no rooms left. But it is possible you could sleep on the floor in the lounge. There are people also doing this. That is all I can offer you.
And can I eat?
Certainement, mademoiselle. Service has just started in the salle à manger. But it is a set menu.
I am so hungry. Can I go straight in?
Of course, mademoiselle. No, laisse la valise là. Et là, we can no longer look after our guests the way we used to.
Your note said it was urgent.
Oui, mademoiselle. The German officers in the salle à manger, they are suspicious. They want to know who you are.
I saw them looking at me. What did you tell them?
That you had just arrived. But it is your dress, mademoiselle. They think it is uniform.
I thought I had removed everything.
And one of the German officers wants to see your passport.
What can I do? Monsieur, what can I do?
Well, they are still getting quite drunk. The best thing to do is to stay in the lounge. But you must leave before them in the morning.
Thank you, monsieur, thank you.
No, c'est rien, c'est rien. But you must leave very early in the morning.
Ça fait pas ça que j'ai rendez-vous avec un client.
Monsieur, please forgive me, but I need your help.
Why, madam, what is it?
Please don't look, but I am being followed by the man in the corridor. I think he is Gestapo.
Why would he be following you? And why do you think he's Gestapo?
Some German officers in the hotel in Lyon last night were asking questions about me.
Are you sure he's following you?
Yes. I just put it to the test.
She's correct. I saw him follow her.
Are you trying to escape to Switzerland?
Yes. That is why I've taken the chance to speak with you. You are Swiss, aren't you?
Do you have an exit visa, mademoiselle?
Yes, for Annemasse.
Are you lucky? My friend Gilles and I have done this before. Watch closely as I point out the scenery and listen very carefully to what you must do. When we arrive in Annemasse, we're going to get off and pretend to say goodbye to one another.
So lovely to meet you.
Real pleasure.
And you. Thank you. Good luck with the rest of the journey.
Goodbye.
Then you're going to walk to the cafe. You're going to take a seat and order a coffee. And pay for it, by the way. And then you leave your bag and your coat on the seat.
Café? Merci.
I'm sorry, but this is the one sacrifice you're going to have to do.
Merci.
Café, monsieur.
Merci. And then you're going to pretend to go to the toilet.
Excuse me, would you mind keeping an eye on my... Thank you.
And there you'll find a door leading to the backyard, where we'll be waiting for you with the engine running. Well, we're here.
Hello.
Is this Annemasse?
No, Saint-Julien.
But my exit visa is for Annemasse.
Of course it is. And that is where they'll be waiting for you, if they have been able to call ahead.
But how will I get through Saint-Julien with an exit visa for Annemasse?
By once again following my instructions.
Why are you risking so much for a complete stranger?
Well, Gilles and I are comrades in arms, mademoiselle. We hate the Germans. Each time we do this, we feel like we've achieved something.
But what if they search the car?
They won't. Don't worry. Now, cover yourself with that rag and keep down.
Messieurs, bonjour. Vos papiers, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, monsieur.
Merci. C'est bon. Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Vous avez quelque chose sur la banquette arrière?
Oui, des montres.
Bien. Tout est en ordre.
I feel ill.
No, be strong now. This is the Swiss control. You can get out.
Oh, thank God. I've crossed the Swiss border so many times. I've never had any trouble before.
That will help us. They know us too well. We'll drop you here, and now you're on your own. You're a brave lady.
Thank you both so much. You've saved my life. Bonsoir, monsieur.
This is for 'Not for Saint-Julien. You will have to go back.
Please, monsieur. I'm English. I'm being followed by the Gestapo. To re-enter France now would be suicide.
This visa is not for you. You will have to go back to Annemasse.
But how will I get there? I have no transport. I've come this far. I cannot go back now. Wait. Please call Charles Paravicini on this number. He used to be the Swiss ambassador in London. He will want to know that I am here.
The call took no time, but it felt like an age. He was obviously talking to a superior officer, and I heard him mention the name Paravicini.
Au revoir.
I saw him stamp the passport, but even when he handed it back to me with a smile, I was still not certain. And so I checked very carefully, and yes, it was true. All was in order. The plan to wait until dark before crossing on my own had worked.
Wanted to make sure. And now we will celebrate in Genève with a glass of champagne.
I'm going to be sick.
Are you all right?
Thank you. Et maintenant, mes deux cheveux, à Genève et champagne.
Champagne.
Oh, merci.
Thanks to Charles Paravicini, I had entered Switzerland legally, but was still regarded as a refugee and subject to travel restrictions. I had a wonderful reunion at Schloss Berg with Renata. Eventually, with help from my contacts, the travel restrictions were relaxed. Initially, I worked for the British legation, translating German, French, and Italian security documents into English. Before the war, Emil and Emmy Opprecht, well-known Swiss publishers, had become good friends. They were staunchly pro-Allies and in a perfect position to help us. They introduced me to Elizabeth Wiskerman, who was collecting political intelligence from Nazi Europe. I soon became her assistant. To cover these activities, I formed the Anglo-American Players. Two friends, Theresa Giza and Maria Becker, both leading members of the Schauspiel House, helped me in this enterprise. Later, I was to become godmother to Maria's son, the actor Oliver Tobias.
People forget that she was an agent. So a lot of people who were agents died in Switzerland by counterintelligence. It was a minefield. There was a group of people, immigrants, left Germany. Now they'd been either Jewish, intellectuals, actors, who went and created this theatre in Zurich. And Elizabeth entered this circle.
It was through this circle that I met Mary Bancroft, and espionage was then taken to an altogether higher level.
No more for me. It's getting late.
You know who Alan Dulles is?
Is he that gorgeous American you brought to the first night party of Constant Wife?
Yes. That gorgeous American is the Swiss director of the American OSS. And before you ask, yes, I am sleeping with him.
Oh, good for you, darling. But why are you telling me this?
Because I work for him as well.
Well, what do you do?
We amass information from Nazi Germany. We get it from the German resistance and anti-Nazi sympathizers here and across the border.
You mean you're a spy?
Let's call it secret intelligence.
Then let me ask you again. Why are you telling me?
Because we want you to work with us.
Me? A spy? Oh, come on.
You are just the person to partner me in a very important operation.
I think I've had enough danger, Mary.
This is different, Liza. There is a top German spy who has amazing information. He's written a manuscript for publication after the war. Alan reckons that what it contains is dynamite. Our job is to translate it and then question him about it.
Oh, I don't understand. Why would we question him?
He could be a double agent, but the information is too important to ignore.
And I would be doing something really useful at last.
This is perfect for you, Liza. You speak fluent German, and this particular German needs the two of us to handle him.
Where do we meet him, and how often?
Right here. He just turns up, sometimes every other day, and then not for 3 weeks. The pay is 300 Swiss francs per month.
Hello,
Good evening.
So pleased to see you.
And you.
Dr. Hans-Bert Gisevius, the German vice consul in Zurich, was our spy. Unlike Mary, who seemed to be curiously attracted to him, I found him ruthless, sinister, and repellent.
Pleasure's all mine.
And you've witnessed conversations?
He was a senior officer in the Abwehr, the intelligence division of the Wehrmacht, with many high-ranking connections. He considered Hitler a disgrace to Germany and disclosed to us a great deal of information, which, of course, we passed on.
Why do you write about him?
This helped the Allies, amongst other things, to cripple the production of the German V-2 rocket at Peenemünde. He was a major player in the July plot to kill Hitler and survived to tell us the full details of that incredible story.
And when I do, they quake in their shoes.
The work at the British legation with Elizabeth Wiskerman and later Alan Dulles was in itself very dangerous. Many a secret agent was killed during that time.
She was very, very brave, and I do remember she always tried to make a point of travelling on trains that were very crowded, because that meant that when the military police came on board, they probably didn't have the time to look at everybody's papers as thoroughly.
On one occasion, she was sure that her rooms had been searched. She also recalled that a former landlady had offered to hide her in a mountain retreat if Switzerland were invaded by the Nazis.
After the war, the film director Lazar Weschler employed me to write the English dialogue for The Last Chance. I also arranged, through my connections, for Queen Mary to attend the premiere in London. I had foolishly accepted Weschler's verbal promise for a percentage of the gross, which, of course, I never saw. After 5 long years, I was longing to see Bewley again. It was and is one of the great loves of my life, but my welcome was not what I had hoped for.
Hello, Pearl.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Ned.
After all this time, have you come to see how the rest of us live? Don't suppose they have rationing in Switzerland?
Well, they do. Very tough, as it happens. That what you think, Ned? You think I've been living it up in Switzerland?
Well, you shouldn't be so surprised. People at Bewley think you've been too busy sipping cocktails at the Palace Hotel to have helped with the war effort.
Ned, that is unkind, untrue, and completely unfair.
What were we supposed to think? When you failed to board the ship at Bordeaux and only turn up months later in Switzerland?
Well, you could have given me the benefit of the doubt.
Why would you deserve the benefit of the doubt?
Because I was doing my bit for the war, and it wasn't that comfortable.
What bit was that?
Well, I can't tell you.
See, you can't even make it up.
I can't tell you exactly what I was involved with, was what I was about to say.
Look, I'm late for my rural council meeting. Liza, you know where your room is. It's not the Palace Hotel, but 5 shillings a night would be a very practical way of you helping with the housekeeping.
When she came back to England after the war, she was very much cold-shouldered because people thought she'd just been living a life of Riley in Switzerland, you know, in order to avoid the war. And of course she couldn't say anything about it and didn't.
Lazar Weschler had taught me a lesson. So when Sir Alexander Corder's London film productions made me an offer, I went armed with an agent, my new friend Princess Dilkusha de Rohan. Don't be fooled by the name. She was as English as they come.
But I shall come to the point, Miss Montagu. I offer you a contract for 3 years, and the pay is £30 per week.
Sir Alexander, I can't start at all at £30 a week.
What salary do you have in mind?
£50 a week is the very minimum. Otherwise, my client must consider her many other offers.
My dear Miss Montagu, what on earth will you do with that kind of money?
Well, I'll have to pay my agent for a start. I think she earns it, don't you?
Very well. You shall join us in July.
At £50 a week.
If you insist. I agree. Thank you.
This contract would change my life. But before I joined Corder, I met up again with an old love.
What happened to you?
You might have come back.
I did come back. The place where we had met was deserted.
We had to evacuate early that morning. I waited as long as I could. But you saw my note.
No. I saw no note.
I am sorry. I did leave one pinned to the door. It did not say much. It could not say much, but at least it said goodbye.
What happened to you?
Petain sent me to Shanghai. It kept an anti-Nazi diplomat out of the way. I have been in China ever since. And you and I, we have lost as well, haven't we?
The war has changed everything. What we had was as precious as music. The symphony goes on, but the movement has ended. I will never forget this wonderful thing that you did. Let's share it.
She had always lived in and around, or in some cases with, musicians. During her brief return to Switzerland in 1946, Liza got to know Benjamin Britten and his partner Peter Pears, who were on a musical tour at the time. Now she found herself helping with the foundation of the English Opera Group and the Philharmonia Orchestra in London.
Having worked on several features, including An Ideal Husband and Anna Karenina for Corder, he asked me to scout out European film projects. And shortly before I was due to leave Vienna, I received a telegram from him announcing the imminent arrival of Graham Greene and Carol Reed. I was to meet them at the airport and afford them every facility, whatever that might mean. And one of the most difficult yet rewarding films that I ever worked on was The Third Man.
What would you like to see while you're here in Vienna, gentlemen? Schönbrunn, Hofburg, opera?
No. I want the seedy rundown Vienna of the present. Nothing romantic.
And I need a sewer.
No one will believe this. I ask two men what they want. One asks for something seedy, and the other a sewer. I love the film business.
Why don't we start with the seedy nightclub, and we can discuss the sewer over a drink?
I know just the place.
The two people that seemed to mean the most to Liza in those days, Renata and Ernst Lothar. And she talked about both of them a very great deal. She was always waiting to hear from Ernst, always hoping to see Ernst, always making quick dashes to Vienna. But that was a kind of running theme with Liza. She was either just about to see Ernst, or she had just seen Ernst, or she was upset because she thought she was going to see Ernst and he'd cancelled it. And it was very much what seemed to be at the centre of her emotional life.
We finished off The Third Man in Shepperton, but I needed to get back to Austria as I was then deeply involved with Ernst Lothar. So I flew back to become dialogue director on Four Men in a Jeep, because it allowed me to spend every weekend in Vienna with Ernst. I also confirmed a long-held view that filmmaking was one of the most tedious occupations known to man. When Ernst was away, I spent the time on two musical works of which I am most proud. Rolf Lieberman commissioned me to write the libretto for School for Wives. He felt that my linguistic talent, coupled with my musical ability, qualified me for the work. We premiered in America, and a little later, Paul Burkhardt employed me as lyricist for his new operetta, Oh My Papa. We opened at the Bristol Old Vic, with Rachel Roberts and a young hopeful called Peter O'Toole. Despite the pressures of work, this was a wonderful period of my life. Music had always been important in my life, and a passion that I shared with Edward. It was one of those things which made us close. So, when I received a telephone call in Salzburg to say that Edward had been arrested for homosexual offences, I returned home immediately to support him through the trials which followed.
Throughout the trial period, the person my father most confided in was Liza. And some years later, I interviewed her and asked her to tell me what she remembered.
Edward put his arms around my neck and collapsed. He was in a most terrible state. I have never seen him in such distress. He told me that it wasn't true, and I believed him, absolutely. Edward was finally acquitted of the main charges, but convicted, unbelievably, for allowing 4 homosexuals to stay in his beach hut for the weekend. The courage with which my brother faced his trials and the subsequent sentence made me very proud of him. Unfortunately, the notoriety of the court cases had reflected on me, and my film work dried up pretty quickly. There was no work on the horizon and no money in the bank. So when my sister Caroline's husband, Granger Weston, offered me a job, I didn't exactly leap at it, but neither could I refuse.
You look tired, Liza.
It's all this Edward business.
Yes, well, that's enough to give anyone sleepless nights.
Is that all that's bothering you, Liza?
What do you mean?
We haven't had much film work this year. We need someone to market our lines in Central Europe. What about you?
Me?
You speak several languages, don't you? You know your way around the continent better than most people. You're a natural.
I don't know anything about groceries.
You eat them. Toast for breakfasts, sun-blessed bread. What do you put on it?
May I have the marmalade, please?
Exactly.
Fortnum and Mason, Oxford, an excellent choice. You could eat that every day in Zurich or Vienna or all those exotic spots you know so well in Central Europe. All you need to do is persuade our big distributors to stock it. And the money is good.
Well, can I think it over?
Hardy Amies, the Queen's couturier, invited me to a post-opera party for Joan Sutherland. There, I met a man with whom I had a conversation which was to last the entire evening. I found my companion so fascinating that I was hardly aware of anyone else. Extremely well informed, he had the kind of mind I like most. Inquisitive, wide-ranging, and liberal. He also had a well-developed sense of humour. By far the most interesting person I'd met in years. My companion had earlier suggested that we met again, a suggestion to which I readily agreed.
She's coming up. And you want me here, Varley, because... I don't want her to feel ambushed. And you're ambushing her because... I want to marry her. And you've known her since? Last Friday. We met at a party of Joan Sutherland after the opera. She's a writer and producer in television advertising. We talked for nearly 2 hours. And on the basis of some social chit-chat you had at a party, you decide to dedicate your life to a woman you've known for only 3 days? She is single, I take it. Never married. How old is she? Oh, early 50s. Must be a lesbian. Possibly. Well-connected? Undoubtedly. And what is the name of this exotic paragon of...
Came straight up. The door was open.
Christ. The Honourable Elizabeth Montagu, no less.
Hello, Tony. I didn't realise you knew Varley.
Ditto. How are you, my dear?
Very good. You still with Corder?
Alas, no, I got out years ago. Which reminds me, I'm afraid I can't stop, Liza. I have to see a man about a dog. Lovely to see you again. Good night, Varley, and good luck. You'll need it. Do sit down, Miss Montagu.
Thank you.
Can I offer you a little drink?
Yes, I'd love one. What a lovely flat.
Well, I'm glad you like it. It suits me. Here you are.
Thank you.
Now, I want to ask you a rather important question.
Sounds rather serious.
I wanted to say to you... You see, I've asked you here tonight for a very special reason.
Well, I'm beginning to feel rather nervous now.
I got you here tonight to ask you to marry me. Will you marry me?
What? I don't know what to say.
But you haven't said no.
No. What? Are you joking with me? I hardly know you.
But you still haven't said no.
Well, I don't really know you, and frankly, under the circumstances, the only thing I can think of to say is goodbye.
So, you love this Varley?
Since he proposed to me that night, he has pursued me relentlessly around the world with bouquets, champagne, dinner, the theatre, the opera.
Strange. Normally these actions come before the proposal.
We lunch at Claridge's, dine at the Connaught. He telephones me long distance from wherever he is in the world. Sao Paulo at midnight, New York at 3 a.m.
So he loves you. But that is not what I asked.
Varley is clever and funny, endlessly fascinating. I would never be bored.
But do you love him?
I think I must.
Very well, then. I extend my felicitations. If he were Italian, I would have said no, 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 no. But in England, divorce is so easy.
The first time I met Elizabeth, in those days there was a very fashionable hairdressers in Dover Street called Antoine's. As we went past, I also noticed an extremely elegant and well-dressed and nicely presented woman, beautifully coiffed, of course, because she'd just been to the hairdresser, but elegantly dressed in a dark suit with a crisp white blouse and looking really good. And I thought, gosh, she looks nice. And the taxi took me on to Claridge's, and I got there and I joined my father at his table. And 5 minutes later, who should walk in but this lady who I'd seen in Dover Street? And it was Elizabeth. By the time he met Elizabeth, my father was really at the height of his powers, and he had had already a very successful life. Great thing about Elizabeth is that she was my father's intellectual equal, and I think that this was why the time was so right that they met and married.
18 months after Vali and I married, Renata, my life's inspiration, my guru, had developed leukemia, and I left Vali briefly to nurse her in Rome.
That's a little easier. Are you more comfortable, darling?
When you are close to me, always.
I have always been close to you for 30 wonderful years.
Hampstead. I remember. He so wanted to sit next to you. And some silly English rules. Said no.
Etiquette, I expect. I was on the other end of the table, but I hung on your words.
I know my words. I like that.
You denounced self-pity. The most destructive of the emotions, you called it.
Self-pity. And it will not destroy me now.
Is the pain worse?
Yeah, always now. That's how self-pity creeps in. So insidious. Always. Always. Cara, in the other room, the Matthew Passion. Please, again for me.
I have it. It was on the machine.
I went back to Vali. I had closed the door on a great emotion of my life, and the feeling, although sad, was one of absolute consummation. And so I turned again to the man I had married and devoted my time to him, the kindest and most generous of men. If there is anything that I do not regret, it is marrying Vali.
Eliza was the most wonderful wife to him.
We had 23 wonderful years before I lost him, as I did Renata. Now I am back at Bewley where it all began, and I expect where it all will end. I have a position, socially, which I am fully equipped to maintain without the help of money or a husband. And I've learned a great deal about values. And I want to be moderately self-sufficient, to have my own work and make a success of it. And in that lies stability and a promise of content. I want to learn how to conquer laziness and all its companions, to be loved and earn such love by unselfishness, understanding, and by helping others. Above all, I want to be independent as the winds, and I want to learn all I can of human beings, of art, of science, of nature, of the stars, and of philosophy. Then, when I die, I will not be reluctant to go, for I shall leave nothing behind me but pleasant memories.
Elizabeth was a person with great generosity of spirit. She loved people. She loved activity. She loved gardens. She loved flowers. She loved music. She loved reading. Tell me what she didn't love. She was a very, very loving person.